snack together, eat our breakfast, whatever we eat together. And we're gonna eat our lunch. I've got my lunch sitting here next to me. I think we're live on
Yep.
the Facebook group finally. Yay. We were having
Yeah,
some problems with connecting. Technology hates me, like hates me. If there's ever an AI uprising, I'm screwed. I'm really nice to the robots, I love them. I just don't understand how to use them. So we're having tech issues, but I think it's working now. I'll try to manage the comments on YouTube and Facebook, but technology, like I said, guys, has not been on my side. So there are some questions and comments coming through on TikTok, which you should be able to see on the screen. So to my friends here on TikTok, I'll start answering questions and we'll see if anything else comes up on the line. Girleen 116, is it normal to get hungry after you just ate? I hear that, and I think maybe not eating enough. When we're eating, the idea is to come to satiation. That's such a hard word for me to say, but it's this feeling of like I'm mentally, emotionally, physically satisfied. Like I'm good, right? If you're still hungry, it tells me that maybe you aren't satisfied, and it's okay to keep eating food to satisfy that hunger in you. So I always say there are three types of hunger. There's mental hunger, emotional hunger, and physical hunger. So physical hunger, excuse me, we're familiar with, right? That's like your growling stomach, and you know that feeling of hunger that you get in your tummy. But there's emotional hunger, just feeling like kind of low and anxious, tired, lethargic, just like bleh, right? Then there's mental hunger, where you're just kind of like thinking about something, like you can't stop thinking about maybe a certain meal or a certain food or a certain texture or a certain taste, right? And so when we eat, we want to try to blend all of those to get them all on the same page. They don't always, right? Sometimes I eat something and maybe I don't have what I'm mentally thinking about available, right? Like Chick-fil-A, for example. Let's say Chick-fil-A isn't available to me, but I might be craving a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I can eat and still feel satisfied and okay, but maybe I'm still like mentally thinking about that. That's okay. I just know I can go and get that when that's available to me. You know, like it's not that I can't have it. It's just that I can't have it because it's not available to me right now. So it's my first time in one of these lives. Well, welcome, Kathy11. I am slow to get to the questions because I ramble. I have a lot to say about these things you ask. So, okay. Oh, thank you. I'm so happy I caught your live. Well, here you are. Welcome. So I have a question here from Kathy YY11. Not sure how to recover. I think that's a first step right there, is that acknowledgement of I'm ready to recover. What do I do? It takes some time to realize, hey, I might have a problem, and oh, I want some help. So I think that's the next step, is putting it out there. Hey, I want some help. Can somebody help? Recovery is like a dark forest, right? Like bunch of trees. It's really scary. It's really dark, and you don't know how to get to the other side. You don't know what's between you and the other side, and help is that flashlight to help guide you through to the other side. So I have a lot of thoughts on recovery. I break down that process in my on the recovery-academy.com website. I have kind of this like free video. So if you go there, you can find more specifically my thoughts on like breaking down recovery into a process. Thank you all for being here. I love the community we've created. You know, social media is such a toxic place for people in recovery, and I see all this bullshit online all of the time, and just the things that like people with followings say, and just the fact that anybody can put anything out online, and it just is now, it seems. So I love that there's this space that you all have created for each other to be pro recovery and pro like support, and encouraging and like learning how to fight an eating disorder, because it's really hard outside of these safe spaces, because there's a lot of unsafe spaces for people in recovery. So I appreciate all of you for this community. It's been really fun. What do I do if I start to replace my meals instead of like coffee or Red Bull? So okay, so maybe a start would be like, okay, let's say coffee. Maybe you add coffee and a biscuit. You add coffee and a piece of toast, right? So you kind of take a little step to progress you to eating a full meal instead of the coffee or instead of the Red Bull. So think of it like a safe snack, right? Like on a scale of 1 to 10 of anxiety, 10's really freaking out. 1 is I can do that. Pick a food that's kind of a 1, 2, or 3, right? You can do it. You're like, I'm gonna have my coffee. I'm gonna eat this thing, right? And then you can gradually start working on adding other like foods or calories to that instead of the coffee or the Red Bull. Oh, you're eating candy? Yay! Madison McKenzie, so proud of you. Yes, enjoy the candy. I've got pizza. I know y'all aren't seeing me eating it because I'm too busy talking and answering your questions, but my lunch is here and I've been eating some of it. Do I have any advice for improving body image while doing something like ballet? Wow. Ballet is such a body focused sport, and we do see people who struggle with body image in those types of sports, and eating disorders can be high among people in those sports. So I want to ask you to think about what your body is capable of, how it is able to move and flow and create something so beautiful, to a person who is, I'm not a ballet dancer at all, right? Your body's able to do that. Focus on what it's allowing you to do instead of on how it looks while doing it. You're doing it. You're creating this beautiful body movement because of your body right then, right? So it's kind of like being grateful for your body while you're doing things, right? Like appreciating it, how it's letting you move and how it's letting you flow. How do you get rid of bloating in recovery? Girlene 116. Bloating never goes away. We bloat. It's a normal, natural human thing that you're going to do for the rest of your life. However, for folks who are early in recovery, or well, at a place in recovery where maybe you're working on increasing, you're working with like somebody with a meal plan, or an exchange plan, and you're doing that like re-nutrition phase, right? It does feel like there's extra bloating going on because there is some like refeeding stuff. There's some stuff that happens in the body when we're malnourished, and when we start nourishing it, it can go through some periods of like slowed digestion. But the cure to that is to keep eating, right? So to like, if you're having gastrointestinal issues because you're not eating enough, it feels uncomfortable for a little bit of time. There's some things you can do, like you can put like a heating pad on your stomach, like you can lay on your back. I wish I could show you, but you can lay on your back with your butt and your legs up against the wall, right? Like kind of just lay there, take a bath, take a nice shower, do like a do something to take care of yourself, can help with the discomfort. But the way to get through that is to nourish and like to get improve your I'm not talking well. To improve your nourishment. Eating lunch for the first time. Yay! So proud of you. Welcome. And it's really cool that you can be on TikTok. In school, I would have that's cool because that certainly was a thing that we could do. We had to like send notes to each other in lunchtime when I was in school. How do I know when it's becoming an issue and when you need help? If you think you have an issue with food and you want help, you have an issue with food and you deserve help. What I'm saying is there's no guideline for how bad it has to be and how uncomfortable you have to be. If you're uncomfortable and anxious, you're uncomfortable and you're anxious, and you can get help for that. So ask for help. You deserve to, work on that and feel better about your body and feel better in your relationship with food. Not having an I have a comment here about not having an appetite until later in the afternoon. You are hungry. You are. If you're waiting for that like growling deep hunger in your stomach, right, that hollow feeling, and then right, okay, that may take till 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon to get that hungry, that like stomach growling feeling, but you are hungry and there are other hunger cues that are happening. You're just not paying attention to them. And that's okay. A lot of us aren't taught to pay attention to our hunger cues. We're taught to, wait until we're hungry, and we're told all these bullshit things to do to curb our hunger. So, right, I understand where that teaching comes from, but that teaching is diet culture, and diet culture is fucked with all of us. So I feel like I don't know how to eat comfortably anymore. Yeah, it takes time. We aren't taught to eat. We are taught how to diet, and we are taught how to ignore our bodies from the time we're children, and our parents were taught that, and our parents' parents were taught that. It's the message, and it does take some relearning to eat normal again. So if you're really wanting some help with that, a great place to start is the Intuitive Eating Workbook. You can get it on Amazon. You can find it in a bookstore, Intuitive Eating Workbook, and that's a great place to start learning how to eat normal again. How do you validate yourself and your ED when you feel others have it worse? That not sick enough is such a common thought in an eating disorder, right? Because it's never enough, right? It's just whatever the struggle is with your relationship with food and your body, it's just never enough. I think that's how you validate it. That thought is a symptom of a disease. It's a disordered thought, right? And so if we have symptoms of a disease, or if we have a disordered thought, we're allowed to work to improve that, right? To feel differently and feel better about that. Y'all, my dog here, let me just show you how pathetic he is. There's a ball underneath this planter here, and he's whining because he can't get it. Here, Finlay. There you go. Okay. That was very distracting to have my baby boy back there just whining and crying. Had to help him out. Any tips on boredom eating? Like eating when you're bored? I think it's normal to eat when we're bored. And I know I'm going to get a lot of like, what? And what, about that. If you're bored, I think you can find things to do, like pick up a hobby, read a book, you watch a show on Netflix, right? Like you could get a piece of paper and write down a list of 5 to 10 things to do when you're feeling bored, like just kind of this like guide to go do this thing. But also like people do eat when bored, and so it's okay. So I would say also give yourself compassion. Be nice to yourself, that it's okay if you do it, and it's okay to find other things to do when you're bored in addition to eating. So eating isn't the only way that you deal with boredom. It's certainly something you can do, and maybe if that's causing you a lot of shame and guilt and anxiety, then what are other things you can do when bored in addition to eating? Some questions on plate models for food. You know, I'm not a dietitian, I'm a therapist. So I'm not a lot of the dietitian colleagues that I work with in the eating disorder field use exchanges. And but I'm not saying that's like the gold standard. I don't know what the gold standard is for dietitians. But right, like exchanges and built in to help you get to intuitive eating. You want and you want let me eat. You want a dietitian who is teaching you to not diet and is teaching you to listen to your own body and your own cues. Sometimes you need a dietitian to be more specific and direct you in those, you know, early stages of recovery. Sometimes intuitive eating isn't always the safest, best thing to do early stages of recovery. So it's great to have a dietitian who's being more like direct, but helping teach you to eat variety and helping teach you like to, again, to listen to your body, to feed it and fuel it for you. Someone's eating McDonald's. That's awesome. Brittany Lancaster, I think my thoughts on her page is really fun. I really appreciate people who bring about like who use their lived experience to you know, break down stigma and talk about this disease. I love her. I think I send a lot of my clients to follow her. There's a few others. Victoria, I don't know people's names. I just see their, you know, their stuff. So y'all tell me who else should I send folks to follow for like recovery support. Claire Tuning is a great dietitian to follow. She's here on TikTok. She's on Instagram. She has a podcast. I love her content. Who else? Victoria Garrick. Yes, she's got a great page. Recovery is tiring. That was a question. Sorry, I thought that was a shout out. Stressed about your 18th birthday. Great. Happy birthday and eat the cake. It's your birthday. Celebrate yourself. You deserve cake. If your brain's telling you you have to earn cake, because that's a thing that happens in eating disorder recovery, it's your birthday. You earned it because you were born, and you deserve to celebrate and like have your best self, right? And then maybe if there's anxiety after eating it, take care of yourself afterwards. Maybe you give yourself a little birthday self-care plan, right? To really be sweet and gentle and kind and fun to yourself after the dinner party. Lauren Wag is a great one to follow. Okay. Body positive. Awesome. Is it possible to actually recover fully from an eating disorder? 100% yes, you can fully recover from an eating disorder. Now, as I chew my food. Do I have any food on my mouth? I'm sorry. Okay. Recovery is hard. That doesn't mean that when I say it's possible, full recovery, that doesn't mean that it's easy and that it's simple and that there isn't struggle, because eating disorder recovery is really hard. It is the hardest thing you will do, and it is the most worth fighting for thing that you're going to do. Imagine life like being able to go out and eat with your friends, right? Like going out for frozen yogurt or ice cream with your friends and not giving a shit. Imagine like being able to wake up and tackle your day and then not worry about, right, like counting calories and all the eating that's going to happen, but knowing that like you can take care of yourself and you know how to take care of yourself so you stay fed throughout the day. Like it seems so hard because it's so overwhelming in your head right now. Recovery is taking away that overwhelm so that there's more space to live life. And when you're living life more freely from your eating disorder, you right there is that motivation to fight for it and to you're like, yes, I can do this, and I'm living my life, and I'm going to keep doing things to live my life. Let's see. What's the connection between control and eating disorders? From Maddie Clariff. So on one hand, I get really annoyed when I hear people say things like eating disorders are all about control, because it's so much more than that. It is a disease that affects, it consumes everything in your life. And it is a very deadly, dangerous disease, right? And so it's more than just controlling things. However, is there a controlling, obsessing part about the eating disorder? Absolutely. That is kind of a symptom, side effect, consequence, if you will, of an eating disorder is this very, very focused controlled thinking. And so it does give a sense of like control in a way, or it does give, like, if there's a lot of trauma and chaos and loss in your life, or you know you're feeling really hopeless and helpless in all areas of your life, to eat or not eat a certain way does give you a sense of you are in control, and it does feel safe in that way, right? And so that's why eating disorders are never just about the food or your weight. It is a psychological issue. It is serving a coping, survival, adaptive need in you, and so that's why you want to work to understand that, like, what are my needs, what is this, what are these behaviors, what is this eating disorder doing for me, and how do I get that need met without using my eating disorder, or in a safer way, right? Can calorie counting be healthy? I don't know, because I don't see the purpose, the need to calorie count. Like, normal eating is just, I know this sounds so weird, it's eating, right? It's not, it doesn't, there's no thought about calories or this or that or macros or timing or what I had before. It's just literally like, I'm hungry, it's time to eat, so this is the food that's available. I know I'm really simplifying something that's so complicated, but you know, eating isn't, no, calorie counting. I don't, I guess I'm not saying it's, I just don't see the need for it, right? So is it unhealthy a lot for people in recovery? Absolutely. A lot of people who have an eating disorder do calorie count. A lot of people calorie count and they don't have an eating disorder, and a lot of people will say, yes, that helps them. Okay, fine, but like, it's pointless. You don't need to do it. And true, like, free eating is not calorie counting. So First vid I saw of you, you were saying you are sick enough, and if you think you are not, that's an eating disorder thought. Exactly, right? Like that's what the eating disorder tells you. Like you will never be enough of whatever. Insert that like X, that line, that whatever, like it to that sick part of your brain. It is never enough. And so you don't see yourself as sick enough or whatever, um, because because that is a distorted thought. So if you are thinking that in any way, I'm not anxious enough, depressed enough, hopeless enough, I haven't been traumatized enough, I'm not sick enough with an eating disorder. If you're having those thoughts, that's not what a healthy person thinks. So I want to encourage you to think about getting some help. There's someone, Black Heart cos on Friday, brother's wedding. Well, that's fun for you, but there's going to be cake and you're scared. I hear you. And to that sick part of your brain, it is really scary. To the healthy human part of you, right? Eat cake. It's okay. It's cake. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not right, it's not wrong. It's cake, and we're celebrating your brother's wedding, and it is culturally appropriate, culturally acceptable, culturally expected to eat cake at a wedding. So to celebrate in that way is just you being a human celebrating your brother's wedding. So if anyone's interested in bodybuilding or fitness, answer questions. Okay, great. I hope it's safe and health at every size, because I think that if you are in recovery from an eating disorder, weight loss is like intentional weight loss. Dieting is not recommended. It's only going to it's just another version of behaviors. What do you do if you genuinely do not feel hungry, even though it's time to eat? So this is normal. That happens again in malnourishment. If you've been restricting or binge eating, because there's restricting and binge eating, and or purging, your metabolism does become affected, and it can affect how you feel in your tummy. So your tummy may not be sending you the message that you're hungry, but notice, like, how are you thinking mentally? Like, think about, it's going to help you think better. It's going to help you have energy. This food is you taking care of yourself, you taking care of your body. So maybe writing some positive affirmations for yourself, getting on some kind of support, but it does feel mechanical. It can feel very much like forced eating. I'm just putting, and not every meal is fun. Not every meal is amazing or tastes great. It is okay that at times, even when we are like, eating normally or intuitively, however you want to call it, there's just meals that just they're not, it's truly just eating because it's what you need to do. Is recovery possible without help? I've been recently learning that diagnosis and treatment is a privilege, and I'm trying to think of ways to offer support and help, because I do think it's really hard to recover on your own. I do think some amount of support is needed. You need somebody who is going to call you on the eating disorder bullshit. You need somebody who's going to help talk you out of your eating disorder brain. I think you need somebody who's going to be able to notice the sneaky ways that the eating disorder can show up. So therapy is best if that is available to you. But like maybe it's about finding support and getting as much information as you can, really reading. There's so many great books out there. There are so many free resources out there. Like there are resources. I would get your hands on all of that you can, if therapy is not accessible to you. However, if you have therapy available to you, I would say get a therapist. It's the best way to help you, or a coach or a dietitian, right? Um, uh, that's the best way to help support you through recovery. Is it okay to have a fear of hospitals? You know what? It's okay to have a fear of anything. I don't want to shame or invalidate anybody for a fear. We have fears and phobias for a legit reason. And so, yes, if something awful, terrible happened in the past in a hospital, I think it makes sense that you have a fear of it. It's also okay to see if there's a way to work through that. Is there a way to not is there a way to feel safer about going to hospitals in the future, should and if you need to go to a hospital in the future? Or how do you, right, like keep yourself healthy and safe? Is it okay? Okay, so friends, I'm gonna only answer a couple more questions. I have group in a few minutes, and I haven't eaten very much of my lunch. And so I'm so proud of everybody on here eating foods with us, joining us, eating snacks, eating their lunch. This is what makes you guys so just like great, right? This is that support I'm talking about. Like maybe it's getting on like a free live support. So if you're on Instagram, COVID-19 eating support goes live every hour for free meal support. So finding just those kinds of things, right, to fill your head with as much pro recovery as you can, is going to help just really strengthen your brain to fight the eating disorder brain. Okay. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. So let's see. Any tips for freshmen going to college? I love working with college folks. There's a small college here in Sherman, and I love you guys. So yes, I would say have support going, like lined up to be in the cafeteria with you. Here they call it the caf. So, do you have like a friend or your roommate? Find the school counselor, therapist. Not all of them will be specialized in eating disorders, but some universities and colleges do have eating disorder folks there in their counseling centers. But just having, like, go line up a counselor at your school and let them know, hey, I have an eating disorder. Can I come eat, a meal with you sometimes? I would write a list of, like, I don't know, 5-ish things that really help you feel grounded, really help you feel supported. Take those things with you while you eat to distract you. But I would say do line up support and a plan to help you feel safe during those times. Have easy, safe snacks available to you. Have easy grab snacks and meals available, just like something you can throw in your bag or throw, in your stuff so you can eat on the run. Take breaks, right? Like, don't get in the habit of studying for hours in the library. Give yourself a break every 2 to 3 hours to pee, stretch, get something to eat, refresh your brain. And I think have a routine. The more of a routine that you have, the more it's going to help you, just like do the self-care that you need to do to stay fed. So one last question. I have recovery is tiring. So an ED specialist made a really unhelpful comment about a BMI. So they're an eating disorder specialist. certified eating disorder specialist. And then there are certified eating disorder specialists and eating disorder specialists who are health at every size trained and informed. So what that means is that people who practice from a health at every size perspective don't use the BMI in diagnosing and making treatment decisions. We're kind of just like, it doesn't exist. And we help people find a healthy way for you individually to take care of your body, right? So how do you tune out all the other noise about how to take care of your body, and do what you have to do for yourself, and that weight and has nothing to do with health. And how do you again become the best healthy version for yourself when weight isn't an issue, right? So there are eating disorder specialists, right? So you want to know what's someone's work with an eating disorder, right? If you're wanting like to see a therapist and you're like, who do I know, right? So ask the therapist, what is your experience working with eating disorders, right? And so somebody may say, I worked at a treatment program, I have, I go to all these trainings, I do see eating disorder clients. They can say they specialize in treating eating disorders. They've got a lot of training, they've treated people. Certified eating disorder specialist, I'm one of them, is a international association of eating disorder professionals. They are a board, I guess, like organization, and they provide all of the teaching, all of the research, all of the education, treatment. They are the evidence-based folks for here's eating disorders and here's the best ways to treat them. And then if you do all of these ridiculous amount of things and do all these things for a really long time, we'll give you a piece of paper saying that you're a certified eating disorder specialist, right? So them having that CEDS is, yes, they are an expert in this. Then again, the health at every size, there's not really a certification for that. So I think you just ask the person, what is your experience and thoughts on health at every size, right? If that sounds like the type of treatment that you're looking for, a specialist who is health at every size informed, just ask that person, what are your thoughts on health at every size? What's your experience working with health at every size? A lot of folks are going to be real quick to tell you, I'm a health at every size therapist. So those are some thoughts on getting help. So I can be found here on TikTok, recovery-academy.com, YouTube, and my Facebook group, which if you go to my bios, I'm sure you can find. The Facebook group is Unfuck Yourself. And so I will be back next week with more time to eat our meals and our lunch. I'm so proud of all of you who joined me. I love this community. Y'all are amazing. Y'all make this so much fun for me. It's one of my favorite hours of the week. So I'm gonna hop off, try to eat, and if you are in the group, I'll see you all in the group in a few minutes. Okay, bye everybody. Okay, so I don't know how to go off on these channels. Michael, I think I hit end stream, but I don't know. Oh, the end. Okay, now I figured it out.
No, you didn't.
Oh.
Or did you?
I hit the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is all still running?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, is this still live? I don't know.
Should have.